You know that feeling, right? You finally got the keys after months and months of planning and saving and searching for that new home. And you're finally going to get to move in. But what you don't know is that this is just the very beginning of that ticking time bomb, the one with all of the hidden costs that you might have not thought about. In today's video, we're going to be talking about those 7 hidden landmines and also some of the ways that you might circumvent those landmines and make your move a dream move rather than one of financial ruin. We're Rod and Melody, your guides to living in Salt Lake City and beyond. With over 30 years in Utah real estate, we're here to help you navigate this beautiful state with confidence. We make videos about living in Salt Lake, exploring the suburbs, and what life in Utah is really like.
So you did it. You scraped together $83,000. You purchased one of the homes that median prices have skyrocketed. It's a $420,000 purchase price. You drained your emergency funds, your 401k, maybe you even got some gifts from family members, and you popped the champagne cork. You have arrived. You were able to purchase your home. And then 3 months later, the HVAC goes out, or the roof starts leaking. Maybe it's the water heater. All of a sudden, expenses are mounting and the dream home is turning into an absolute nightmare. Unfortunately, you haven't been here long enough to build up equity. These are some of the mistakes that we have seen a lot of home buyers make. Here's a list of ways that you can avoid those horrible mistakes that would turn your dream home into a nightmare financially.
It might be fun to get them running around in the background.
Yeah. So one of the first things to talk about is that a lender is never going to qualify you for more money than you can afford based on the information that he has. So here's mistake number 1. Looking at the lender's qualification, knowing you have maybe other debts that are not on your credit report. The next thing that we see a lot of mistakes, a lot of buyers make, is they buy a new home and then all of a sudden they feel like they need new furniture to go in the new space because they wouldn't want to put old furniture in a new home, or they start to purchase things that they don't necessarily need but would really like going overboard on decorations and things like that. The truth is, you're going to be in your home for a little while, and it's okay to accumulate some really great pieces over time, not right up front. Make sure that you give yourself a little bit of a time to adjust to the new payment and to adjust to all of the other expenses of owning a home. Don't go overboard with new purchases just because you bought the new home.
Okay, mistake number 2 is to empty that savings account to dodge the PMI. Now, with 20% down or more, you can dodge that PMI comfortably. But if you're just taking out every single penny so that you can dodge that PMI, it might not be a good idea, because here's why. And I want you to think about this really good. If you drain every penny and in a month or 2 you've got some of those expenses that are unforeseen come up, let's say that you have a furnace breakdown or an AC unit go out, then you're talking about a huge expense and no savings or emergency fund to cover it. So emptying that bucket to dodge that PMI might sound like a good idea because it's going to save you a little bit every single month, but in the long run, you don't want to drain it all.
Mistake number 3, and this comes along in the earlier processes. So we talk to a lot of people that are interested in buying homes, and they go to get pre-qualified with a lender, and then they find out that the new car that they just bought with the $500 or $600 a month payment, sometimes a little more, completely destroys their ability to buy a home. So be aware of how much debt can impact your ability to buy a home and where you might end up with a home. It's a lot more important to spend a few dollars on an appreciating asset like a home than it is a depreciating asset like a car. Most often we see people buying cars as a status symbol. They want to make sure that everybody thinks they're cool because of what they drive around. They get the good girlfriends or the good boyfriends or whatever it is. And at the end of the day, the partner would much rather have a better location to live. So every $1,000 that you finance in a home is going to cost you about $6 or $7 per month on a 30-year loan right now with rates where they're at today. Buying a new car with a $600 payment instead of one that will get you by for a little while without a car payment can cost you up to $100,000 in purchase power on a home. So please be hyper aware before you go by that shiny new object of what it might cost you in the purchase of a home.
So mistake number 4?
This one is in only budgeting for your house payment. So there's a lot of things to talk about when you own a home. I'm going to tell you, this is why lenders are very conservative when somebody goes to buy a home, because lenders, unlike us sometimes, know that there's a lot more that goes into the purchase of a home and what your monthly bills are going to be after you own.
Some of the things that you want to budget for, obviously, but it's not necessarily something that your lender's going to talk to you about, is your daycare. If you've got kids, daycare is a big expense. It's probably one of the biggest ones when you're first starting out.
Pay attention to gas prices. If you're driving a gas vehicle instead of an electric vehicle and you've got a little bit of a commute to work, now that you found an affordable home, it's a little further from work than you planned, and so make sure that you're planning on a few of those kinds of things.
Yeah. We do have a cost of living video, and we will update that every 6 months. So if you're not living in Utah and you're curious about what it is like to live here, cost of living videos are for you, so check those links up above.
The other thing I was going to talk about is making sure you budget a little bit for home repairs. A rule of thumb is that you want to save about 2 to 3% of the value of your home every year for repairs. It doesn't mean that you're going to spend that much every year, but you are going to need new carpet. Eventually, you're going to need a new furnace. You're going to need a new roof. So planning ahead, creating a savings account, and making sure that you budget a little bit for those upcoming homeowners expenses is a good idea, because when those hit, they can hit pretty hard. It's not a few $100s, it's a few $1,000s, and if you haven't planned ahead, that can be difficult to do. All right, we got a fun one. This one is during the loan process. So mistake number 5, trying to time the market for either buying a home and allowing equity to appreciate faster, waiting for interest rates so that they're at the exact perfect time. It's a losing game. We've been playing this game for almost 30 years, and I still can't tell you tomorrow what rates are going to do.
What, you don't have that crystal ball?
Nope, and anybody that tells you that they do are lying to you. So the first thing I want to tell you is that equity is the least valuable of all of the benefits of owning a home, because if you buy a home and it goes up 5% in value and you decide to sell it, cash out your equity and get something else, the next home you purchase has also gone up in cost, and everything that you gained from appreciation in your home, you're going to have to use to buy the next home, unless you move from the mountaintop to the trailer park, which most of us don't want to do. Waiting for appreciation is not necessarily a good idea. The other mistake is interest rates. So if anybody's been following interest rates recently, you can see that they'll drop for a day and then go back up again, or they might drop for 2 or 3 days and then go back up again. And a lot of people are trying to time the market. Well, if you're waiting to time the market for interest rates and it drops to that 1 or 2 days, you have to have the house that you wanted to buy in sight so you can put it under contract, lock your interest rate, because you can't lock your rate until you have something under contract. So all of that is a fool's game, guys. There's no way to win that game. Values markets, they're going to do what they're going to do. While you're living there, they're going to go up, they're going to go down based on supply and demand. The real question is this the home that you want to live in? Does it meet your needs today? And if it does, go ahead and purchase the home. If rates happen to get a little bit better later, you can always refinance, take advantage of the lower rates. If they get worse, congratulations, you got a better rate, just ride it out. But trying to time the market is a fool's errand.
Yes, it is. Okay, mistake number 6 that you don't want to make, and it's so easy in today's consumer-minded economy, and that is turning your home equity into an ATM machine. So often we see people go and refinance, get that HELOC out and pull their money out, pay off credit cards that they racked up, or maybe they go and buy a new truck, pay off the new truck, or they go on vacations, like just spending, and they spend all of the equity that's in their home. Only true way to wealth and to retirement is to get your house paid for, and that takes a lot of dedication and saying no to a lot of things that come up in your life in our consumer-minded economy. That means saying no to some of those purchases unless you actually have the cash to do so. Pulling it out of your home is not a great idea. Okay, mistake number 7 is falling in love with the home at first sight. Now you think that you're out there looking for that dream home and that you need to fall in love with it, go home and sleep on it, and then wake up in the morning thinking or knowing that that's the house that you want to move into. The more emotionally connected that you get to that home, the more money you're going to pay. Sometimes someone that has fallen in love with a home will pay more than $40,000 than they should. So my recommendation is try not to fall in love with that home when you first walk in. And it's probably one of the hardest things to do when you're shopping for a home that you're going to raise your family in, that you have been dreaming about for a very long time. This is one of the hardest things to do as a buyer, and it's one of the biggest mistakes that we see buyers making.
Owning a home in 2025, 2026 is still a foundational piece to building long-term wealth, and it still works phenomenally, even with the market that we're in today. However, you have to avoid these financial pitfalls that we've talked about if you want to make it work long-term.
So we've sold over 1,400 homes, and whether you're moving in, out, and around Utah, we've got you covered. Close enough?
Close enough.
Watch this next video here.
So whether you're moving to St. George, South Jordan, or Smithfield.
Maybe Rod needs to do the close.
Yeah.
Hey, come here. We're getting the mud off our feet. Come here, Olaf. Good boy, right here. Right here.